Hey guys, it's Jessica coming to you. I wanted to give you an update on kind of what's been going on and what has happened. And so here we go. Basically, since 2014 when this started, I've had 4 different surgeries. I initially had one done on my toe right here where there's a plate, and the plate has screws in it. I broke a toe by falling on it, and they did a bone graft out of my heel, rebuilt the toe, put the plate and screw over it. It was supposed to fix the toe and everything fine and dandy. Well, the day that they took my cast off at my 1 week checkup after my post-surgery checkup. Sorry, I'm kind of stupid, you guys. This is kind of the effects of what's going on here. So anyway, my foot actually did a turn where normally your foot's straight. Well, mine turned in like this. So literally from the ankle down was turned inward. And as time went by, it got worse and worse. This is something that should have been dealt with right away. But instead, my podiatrist told me that physical therapy will probably let it get back to normal. Physical therapist, I saw 2 different ones, and both of them told me straight out they're not touching me because there's nothing they can do with this having complex regional pain syndrome, and that is not what is causing my foot to be turned in the first place. Surgery number 2 came along when I had ankle fusion surgery, when he finally decided to fix my foot from being turned inward, and that took 3 years of walking on my foot, basically on the outside of my foot. And it came after going to see an orthopedic doctor who informed me that I have arthritis in my right hip and that I'm going to have hip replacement the way that it's wearing, and that my knees are pretty bad, and my left knee for sure is going to need knee replacement at some point because of the way I was walking on it, how everything was set off balance. So that was the second surgery, and my recovery on the second surgery was not good. Normally you're 6 to 8 weeks, give or take. I had it done May 1st of last year, and in November of last year I was still in the walking boot because it had not healed up the way it was supposed to. The bone inside never developed to fuse together, so I was taking all kinds of calcium supplements and trying to get myself better, and it didn't work very well. So what was a 6 to 8 week recovery turned into over a year. This third surgery here is I went in for my pain pump. Finally, I was approved through my insurance because my pain management doctor and I were talking, and this was pretty much the last thing we could possibly do to, do this and help me with pain. And I had the pain pump put in on the 30th. From that day forward, I was not doing well. I did not feel good. On that Friday, I had it done on a Wednesday. That Friday, I had thrown up in the bathroom a couple of times. I was more dry heaving than anything because I wasn't eating, because I didn't feel good. I also threw up in Walgreens the day of the surgery when we were there to pick up my medications, and I had a headache then too. But, you figure it goes with recovery. You're going to have headaches or whatever. You just don't know. After about a week of having the headaches, I told my doctor what was going on. Like, okay, this hasn't stopped. And he told me then that I probably have a leak in the catheter because I was actually having spinal migraines where my neck, the bones in my neck and the back of my head were so painful and would throb so bad when I stood up, sat up, walked around, whatever. And the only way I felt good is if I laid down. And so I was having these spinal migraines. So his suggestion is let's do these blood patches. Well, I went in for one blood patch on a Friday night, and it was a struggle. I was pretty much, by the time I left the procedure room or OR, I was ready to punch people because I was in there so long and so much blood was trying to be drawn from me that I literally across here had bruising. I had bruising here, bruising here, bruising here, bruising here. And what ended up happening was I was too cold, so my blood wasn't flowing. They needed 30 milliliters of blood to get into my spinal column, so basically like an epidural, they put it in, and that would somehow magically patch the hole. It works with your body. The only problem was he could only put in 3 that first time, and something wasn't right because it was hurting when he would put in the blood, and then I would like start, not screaming, but like yelping almost, like, ow, it hurts, stop, stop. And it turned out that he couldn't get enough blood in there to make the blood patch stick. So I spent the weekend again on bed rest. Monday morning they called me at 7 a.m. They wanted me back up there at the drop of a hat again, like everything that they've done through this thing. And we went up there and did another blood patch, and I had to lay for an hour on my back in recovery. And I left there. Again, we couldn't get enough blood in. This time it was like 7 versus the 3 milliliters that he got in. But we thought, he thought it would be enough to patch it. So he sent me home, and I felt really good for about half a day. And I was right back on the couch again with a headache and just in tears. Actually, by that night at 8:30, I was just done. So then after all of this, I saw a neurologist last week. And last week, Wednesday, I saw this neurologist. And he did some of his tests. I don't understand how they know what they know, but he had me do some walking and some turning of my head and bending my knees and all that kind of stuff. And I obviously didn't pass his test because the next day when I got home, I received a phone call from a neurosurgeon in Appleton telling me that I needed to meet him on Friday morning, and that he was squeezing me in because he needed to meet with me and we needed to discuss what we were going to do. This neurosurgeon also told me that I'm not allowed to drive, do anything, and it all came based off of MRI results. Now, I've had, as you know, many MRIs of my back during this whole thing. There's been a total of 3, and the last one was 3 hours long, and it was my entire back and part of the back of my head. Well, then the neurosurgeon in the meantime said that I had to have a MRI done of my head. And I was confused, like, what does that have to do with my back? But I did the MRI anyway, and turned out that my spinal fluid, or the fluid that's inside the dura that surrounds your brain, I was extremely low on this fluid. So I was having dizziness, forgetfulness, just all kinds of different things, headaches, slurring words, not making much sense. And so the neurosurgeon told me, we were with him for about 5 to 10 minutes, give or take. Wasn't a long appointment. And he told us that we need to plan that Monday that I'm going in for surgery. He did say he was going to remove the pump, which was the pump part that was the size of my hand, the machine, but never said much about the catheter. So I went in this past Monday morning. We had to be there by 8 o'clock because I had to have a bunch of tests done before the surgery. I had an MRI done again of my back, I had a CT done this time of my back and of my head. And then after that, they came in to get me for the surgery, but he needed to know what he was working with. Well, it turned out to be a simple, I'm going to go in and patch some stuff up and remove a machine pump, turned into repairing parts of my back that were damaged, and we don't quite know how they were damaged. There was a leak that was not the catheter. There was an actual leak in my spine that was causing the fluid around my brain to not be where it needed to be. And he also removed the catheter part completely and then had to patch up those holes too. So now here I sit, yet again another 6 to 8 week recovery. Right now I can't pick up anything heavier than a gallon of milk. I tried picking up our 40-pound son, who is 2.5, and I felt like I was going to rip part of my back apart because he was so much heavier than what I'm able to lift up. So this week is going to be hard. It's another week of no work for Eric because I need 24-hour assistance around the house to help with Aiden and to cook dinners and do all the things that I normally do and live the life that I normally live, so to speak, while I take it easy and don't get to do a whole heck of a lot. It's been really hard because everything has been so drop of the hat, so quick, like, you need to be here now, we're doing this test now, or this procedure is getting done now, and they take no consideration to the fact that these, people have lives and jobs and children and all of these things, and I understand they were trying to save me. But when I say they were trying to save me, the severity of what was happening to me, because one doctor refused to give up on this pump, could have sent me into a coma and killed me. And that would have been the end. Because that brain fluid is like direly important, and it would have actually taken my life if it would not have gone as fastly as it did once we met with the right doctors. So I'm going to show you my scars, or my, as I call them, my Frankenstein marks, because there's lots of staples. And, just the lasting effects from this are going to be questionable, because I don't know if I'm ever going to get normal function back. I don't know if I'm going to be able to remember things like I used to, or if I can have a conversation and try and put words together that make sense. I try to talk to Eric sometimes, and I literally sound like I'm just babbling and not making any sense, but in my head I know what I'm trying to say, but it's not coming out that way. So there's some pretty long-lasting effects. It's going to take at least 6 to 8 weeks for the fluid to build back up, if it's going to. And when it does, I will all of a sudden be better. And slowly, if it's going back the way it should, I should slowly start to get better. As far as pain, well, the whole pain pump was supposed to eliminate this lovely small pharmacy of painkillers and nerve damage stuff and creams and you name it that's in this box. This is my daily regimen of medication just to have a normal life. The pain pump was supposed to eliminate 90% of this, and now I can't have a pain pump because now that one's been taken out, no one will ever put another one in. So now I go back to what I was doing before, but only worse, as you can see, because before it was probably 10 less pill bottles than there are there right now. So I'll show you what my scars look like. And, after hearing I had things wrong with my back and there was a hole in my spinal column leaking spinal fluid, and that my brain was not protected enough with the fluid it needed, it was one of the most scary things I've ever experienced, because I knew that's how close to death I really was. You can tell people these things, you can try and explain these pains. People believe and hear what they want, they interpret what they want. So don't get too frustrated with people when they don't understand you. But at the same time, people have to be a little more open-minded. Instead of thinking they know everything, maybe they should take some suggestion and listen to the person that's actually living through this. So, well, I'll show you my scars now so you can see them. My scars, my actual, just in my brand new collection of crap from CRPS. Oh, yes, it's very hard for me to get out of bed. Very, very hard. Okay, so here's number one. And right here, it's very swollen through this area right now. So don't mind my fat hanging out, but it's more the swelling that's happening. And it's hard to touch it and really very, very warm. But this is where the pump was. So that's where that got taken out. Now on my back, as I turn here, this is the one that hurts the most. And this is like probably 3 inches bigger than the other one. The other one was only like this big. Okay, maybe not 3 inches, but it's up there. And this one hurts a lot. My whole back through here hurts a lot. And nothing like over-the-counter, BioFreeze. None of that stuff will help me get rid of this pain that I'm having from it. So basically, this has kind of destroyed my life in a lot of ways, but it's also given me a little bit of a different outlook on life. I wouldn't discourage anybody from trying to have this done, because I have heard it has done some wonderful things. But obviously, I'm one of these freak 1 out of 10 million people that has a complication like this. And, now I have no choice but to take medication, and I have to keep my fingers crossed that my doctor will continue to prescribe medication to me and continue to help me as much as he can, because at this point, taking some Tylenol and Advil is, it's like I might as well eat a cube of sugar. It doesn't do anything. So I hope that if there's anybody watching these videos that does have CRPS, don't take my personal experience and sway yourself away from doing something. Make sure you walk in with facts. Know what you're getting into. I never had an MRI done prior to my implants being put in with the catheter. Never happened. It should have happened, because he would have been able to tell right then and there that I probably couldn't have any of this stuff done. They usually do them with the stimulators. There's plenty of people that I've spoken with in different groups that have had MRIs before their pain pumps have been put in. So all I'm saying is go in with knowledge. Knowledge is your biggest asset when it comes to fighting this disease in so many ways. But knowledge with something like this prevents you from ever having to go through what I'm going through right now. I can't even pick up my own son and hug him and love him. And when he comes to hug me, I have to push him very carefully away from me so he doesn't accidentally slam his hands against my incision in the front or in the back, or does something to hurt me unintentionally. So anyway, that's it for now. I guess I'll have more to come. If you're interested, like and subscribe to the video, because then I know you want to know more. So I've got plenty of stuff I can tell you, and especially if you're a new sufferer, somebody with some experience that is going to be black and white with you is the best thing you can have, because sugarcoating this disease does nothing for you but make you hurt more. So thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed some of it, but learned some from it too. And like I said, like and subscribe us. We'd love to talk to you some more. Have a great night, guys.